On day one of his second term, President Trump created DOGE. You've heard of this, the Department of Government Efficiency. And since then, it has been behind cuts and layoffs across numerous federal agencies and programs. Now, DOGE says these cuts have saved $160 billion. However, according to an estimate by the Partnership for Public Service, DOGE's efforts will actually cost taxpayers $135 billion this fiscal year. CBS News national reporter Kati Weis joins us now from New Orleans with more on DOGE's impact during the first 100 days of the Trump administration. Kati, good morning to you. Help us understand how these federal spending cuts have affected people where you are on the Gulf Coast.
Well, good morning to you, Errol. Thank you. You know, these cuts have really been mixed reviews here on the Gulf Coast. For many people here, they feel that these cuts, these federal grant freezes have been incredibly disruptive, not only to nonprofits and community organizations that benefit from that money, but also municipalities as well that benefit from the work of community groups and nonprofits. Let's take a listen to New Orleans City Councilman Oliver Thomas explain a little bit more.
A lot of the United Way agencies that deal with our elderly in feeding nutrition programs for our kids and families, and specifically the Sankofa Wetlands Project, where they're talking about restoration of a very valuable part of the lower Ninth Ward in this community, our coastal protection to fight against coastal erosion. The president can't be pro-Louisiana and for a vanishing Louisiana coastline. So some of those things are contradiction. And many of those things, all of those things are extremely important and vital to our existence.
Now, you hear there that it's a wide variety of programs that have been impacted here in the Big Easy. And actually, coming up in just about a week, Give NOLA Day is coming up, which is one of the biggest fundraising events for thousands of nonprofits across 13 parishes here on the Gulf Coast. And really, I'm told by organizers of that big event that they really need donations more than ever now because of these spending cuts. But of course, this need for more donations also comes at a time when over 500,000 federal workers across the Gulf states have been laid off as a result of those DOGE cuts as well. So people are feeling the pinch because they don't have a job. So it's not a good time for them to be wanting to give to other charitable organizations. Errol?
Yeah, Kati, and it's a great reminder that these cuts don't just hit people in Washington, in the nation's capital, but all over the United States. Can you kind of break down the recently announced cuts to the National Institutes of Health and specifically how it's impacting the region?
Absolutely. And this is one that is really going to affect academia, not only across the U.S., but also here in medical schools in Louisiana and Alabama. In fact, Tulane, which received over $113 million last year from the NIH, they're really going to be feeling the pinch. In fact, they're just a couple blocks away from me here in downtown New Orleans. They're undergoing renovations right now on their campus that they were hoping would provide a big economic boost for the city of New Orleans. But if they're not going to be getting that millions of dollars in funding that they were counting on, that could slow those projects and thus also have a trickle-down effect in terms of slowing economic benefits for New Orleans as well.
Yeah, so many things connected to these government cuts. Kati Weis with a great update for us from New Orleans. Thank you for that.